Morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Hundoke. And today we have Reverend Stone presenting. It's Sunday, the 1st of December 2024, or the 1st of November in the 12th year of Chongyalguk. So thank you all for coming. And let's begin with a bow to our true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind. Chanji, Champu Nimge, Kyombe, Paro. And let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English.
하전맨세 5. 천일극주인 우리 가족은 참 사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 전산세계와 대산적 지산세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 5. Our family, the owner of Chongyalguk, pledges to strive every day to advance the unification of the spirit world and the physical world as subject and object partners by centering on true love. I'd like to ask Reverend Ito if you could offer the opening prayer, please.
Good morning, beloved Heavenly Parents, parents of heaven, earth, humankind. We're so grateful in this special occasion, the days of the entrance of the special palace is coming near, and we are living in this golden era. Work together with true parents, especially true mother, for this special entrance ceremony. Heavenly Parents will coming down and living together with human beings. Father, please prepare all our internal, external situation, individual, family, tribe, nation, and the world, and so that all humanity can gather together, symbolically even. We bring from our nation's representative and ourselves attend this historical ceremony together and meet Heavenly Parents on us. This amazing dramatic history. Please be together with us in this morning devotion together with our brothers and spoken by the Rev Gregory Stone. Thank you so much. Be together with all our prayer. The name of Blessed Central Family, Kenchi Keiko Ito, report to you. Aju, Amen.
Thank you. And, let's give a warm welcome to Reverend Stone as he shares this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. I'll just share the screen. There we go. Hopefully that looks okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Great, thank you. All right, well, yeah, thank you everyone for coming along this morning. I wanted to go through a very interesting speech today, Understanding Life and Death. This was given by True Father in December 19th. So we just began the month of December now, coming into Christmas. So this was given very close to Christmas, 1998, and was given at the Washington Times building, Washington, D.C., USA, and Interreligious Federation for World Peace. So Father had just actually begun this IRFWP at that time. And this was one of the key speeches that he gave. And I think this is really one public speech that Father really explains about the death, and life and the spirit world. So anyway, I really was impressed with this. It was so clear and interesting. And then I gave this to my mother if we just blessed her a little bit earlier, and my father, and then so I felt this is a really good way to teach, about the meaning of life and passing into the next world. Okay, let's begin. So it's actually quite a long speech, reasonably long, so I might not get through all of it this time, but I'll go through until just give enough time for discussion afterwards. Yeah. So, Honourable Chairman, global religious leaders and respected guests, I sincerely thank you for attending this occasion in spite of your respective religious observances and important schedules during the Christmas season. I shall take this time to express my views on life and death, an issue that each religion has gone through great pains to resolve. We live in the physical world, yet we know that this is not the only world that exists. Another world, the spirit world, also exists. The spirit world is a definite reality. We also know that these two worlds, the physical world and spirit world, are not meant to be disconnected from each other. They are linked together as one single world. We human beings were born from the spirit world and eventually return to that world. Death is the return to the world of the origin. In Korea, we commonly use an interesting idiom in reference to death. When someone dies, we say individual has returned. Where does that person return to? It's not cemetery. We mean that we return to the point of life's origin. We return across the vast expanses of history, and in the process, we shed our nationality. We return to the world that brought forth the human ancestors. If a creator exists, then we are returning to the world of the creator. This is where we originated, so that is where we finally return. The universe is engaged in cyclical motion everywhere. For example, when snow falls on a mountain and then melts, it forms a small stream. As the water flows downwards, its volume increases until it becomes a river. Eventually, it reaches the ocean. Some of the water in the ocean evaporates, returning to the atmosphere and completing the cycle. So, yeah, this is what, of course, Father's referring to. That sort of cycle of rain falling on the mountains, coming down, and then into the ocean, evaporation taking place, up into the clouds, and then precipitating again. All beings desire to reach higher ground or a better place through cyclical motion. Where then is the better place we go in order to live eternally? While in the physical world, we live in our physical body. Our mind, though, is headed towards the eternal world. We are born into this world. We pass through our teenage years, 20s, 30s, middle age, and eventually we reach old age. And ultimately, we come to the end of our life, like the sun when it sets on the horizon. Those who know that the spirit world exists, however, know very well that the time spent in our physical body is relatively short, and that the world we encounter after we die is eternal. We know that our life on earth is a period of preparation for the eternal world. So that little diagram there of, our short time on earth before we enter the eternal world. We are like students who have to earn credits in all our classes so that we can fulfill our school's requirements for graduation. The school determines the extent to which its students meet its standard and decides whether it can recognize them. The farther short of the standard the student's grades fall, the more distance that student is from the school's standard of value. Likewise, the value of all beings is measured against a standard. Our life in the physical world is a period of preparation comparable to the time students spend trying to earn good grades at school. In other words, we spend our entire life on earth preparing and striving to achieve good grades. Each day of our life is measured against a particular standard. We are accountable to that standard for our entire life on earth. Most people in society do not know with certainty about the original world to which we go after death, after life in this world. They do not know whether there is a life after death, or even whether God exists. That's true, huh? Human beings are brothers and sisters. Eventually, everyone goes to the spirit world. It turns out that the spirit world is a single realm. It's not divided into many countries, as is the physical world. Then, what is the relationship between the spirit world and the physical world? We can compare it with water that serves as the environment for fish. The presence of water is an absolute condition for fish to live. That does not mean, however, that there is only one kind of water. Some species of fish that live in fresh water cannot spawn if they remain in a river. They have to leave the fresh water and migrate to the salt water in order to lay their eggs. They thus connect to two worlds. In the same way, our mind, which is part of the spirit world, and our body, which is part of the physical world, need to connect. At the beginning of human history, a unified global realm would have been formed to honor Adam and Eve's birthdays, anniversary of their holy wedding, and the anniversary of their death. And by sharing in the commemoration of those days, all people could have united. Instead of being divided, humanity could have lived in a single realm. If this had happened, Adam and Eve's way of life would have been passed down through human history. The culture formed would have endured as long as people continued to exist. Each of us goes through life ignorant of when we die. We do not know if, for example, we will die in a traffic accident. I think some people will die saying, "Oh, Reverend was right," expressing regret only at that moment. We need to know that we are traveling on a very serious path of life in life. We need to use every second in our life preparing ourselves for the eternal world. We need to be aware how momentous is the path we are walking. When people go to the spirit world, they can be divided generally into two types. The first consists of those who lived out a natural lifespan in this world. The second consists of those who experienced an untimely death. Among the latter, some died as a result of punishment, and others died in order to pay indemnity for the nation or the world. Suppose God established one person in a central position representing 1,000 people. What if God made that person go the way of death in place of those 1,000 people? In such an instant, the grace and virtue of the one who died in their place would move the hearts of the 1,000 people. They would determine to live in the name of that person and model their lives after that person, living as he or she lived. Having done so, 1,000 people would enter the same realm of grace as the one who died for them. The reason we try to follow the philosophy of wise individuals and model our lives after patriots is that we desire to enter the same realm of grace as these people. Of course, that I think can be a reference to Jesus, because he died for more than 1,000 people, but yeah, the same principle. Okay, some people live with hope, while others live without hope. We can divide people's hopes and aspirations into two general types: those that place human beings in the central position and those that place heaven in the central position. A newborn infant thinks that its mother's bosom is the most wonderful place in the world. At a certain point in its development, however, the child leaves its mother's bosom. As the child grows, he or she forms friendships, feeling happiest when with friends. Eventually, though, the young person will leave his or her friends behind. During our life course, we come to discover that neither loving parents, nor loving spouse, nor even loving children can completely satisfy our hopes. People have many kinds of hopes. Eventually, all these hopes pass away. We have hopes for family, for our country, and for the world. However, the reality is that as we grow older, our hopes grow weaker. Some people boast that their hope represents the hope of all humankind, yet they lack the conviction to pursue it at the cost of their life. People fervently entertain many hopes during the course of their life, but when they face death, they abandon all their hopes. They desire to stay alive one more day. Day after day, they wander in search of something new in which to place their hope. When they finally face death, though, all their hopes fade away and they fall into despair as they set out on their final path. We know all too well that this is true. It may appear that a person, when viewed as an individual, possesses worthwhile aspirations, yet no individual's hopes continue beyond death. In my view, it is important that all people on earth today, for all people on earth today, to give serious consideration to one question: how can we find hope that will not crumble in the face of death, but will transcend it? I guess that's kind of like what Father begins this first paragraph here with, talking about the two types of people. One, divides people's hopes and aspirations, two general types: those that place their hopes in human beings, humanistic view, and then the others, of course, place their hopes in heaven, which is a more religious view. Yeah. So and so this is really important. How we face death. Can we have hope at the point of death? That's very important. Father continues on. Oh, there we go. Yep. Hope, the hope to fight against death and prevail. All things in this world will pass away. Our families, nations, and even the world itself will pass away. Ideologies and philosophies will pass away. What will remain? What remains? Whatever remains, that is the hope that can defeat death. We might consider that a person who does not possess such a hope or aspiration has been defeated in life. There are people who, from the time they are born, reject the hopes and aspirations presented by the secular world. These people embrace aspirations not of the human world, but those that are eternal and of heaven. Heaven helps these people. A life of faith does not embrace aspirations that are rooted in the secular world. Instead, it embraces hopes that surpass even the gates of death. It dreams of the world of eternal hope. Someday, I too will die. When we are young, we don't think much about death. Yet, we become increasingly serious about death as we grow older. This is because death is a gate through which we are inevitably destined to pass. However, what happens to us after we die? Do you know why I'm speaking to you about death? I'm speaking about death in order to teach the meaning of life. Who really knows the value of life? It is not the person who goes all out to preserve his or her life. The only one who really knows the value of life is the one who goes into the valley of death. As he or she desperately cries out to heaven at the crossroads of life and death, that person confirms the value of life. Why do people fear death? It's because they do not know the purpose for which they are born. Those who do not know why they are born do not know why we die. Therefore, among the first questions philosophers ask are, what is life? Why are we born? If we think about it, we realize that when we die, we are reborn into the midst of God's love. Although in our world, people often cry out, "Oh no, I'm going to die. What am I to do?" They make a big fuss. Do you think God cries out, "Oh no," and is overwhelmed with grief when we die? Or do you think that God laughs, "Ho, ho, ho"? The truth is, he's happy. That's because the moment of the physical body's death is the moment we experience the joy of leaving the finite realm of love and entering to the infinite realm of love. It is the moment of our second birth. Then is God happier on the day we are born into the physical world or at the moment we leave our physical body behind? At the moment of physical death, we are born a second time into an infinite, expanded realm of love. We then become his newborn children. Of course, God is happier at the second birth. I'm telling you this because you need to know that unless you are released from the fear of death, you cannot have a relationship with God. So, God feels happy to watch and directly participate in our life. Consider how a baby is born and wets its diapers as it begins the process of growth. God is happy because as a child grows, the pulse of love within God's heart also grows. When God makes a face, the baby imitates him and makes the same face. When God smiles, the baby smiles as well. And when he is sad, the baby too is sad. This is how babies gradually grow to resemble God. As babies grow, they also begin to resemble their parents. From their parents, they learn language, the rules, the daily life. Of course, all the things have their origin in God. So, after God has lived with us on earth, what if one day he sails over to the other side? What are we supposed to do? If we say, "Wait, God, I want to go with you," he will reply, "Who are you? I do not know you." No, sorry. Will he reply, "Who are you? I do not know you"? Is he likely to leave us behind? Or will he want to take us with him? Of course, he will want to take us with him. Nonetheless, God will say, "I cannot take you with me now. I'll take you with me after you have grown a little more. I want you to work a bit more on your perfection." We can then reply, "Well, we can't go now, yet we are certain that the time will come when we're able to go." Then we can look forward to that day. When we have a physical body, we are unable to follow God wherever he goes. You will need to be willing to die for the person you love. It's only natural that we would aspire to resemble God. On his part, God also would want his sons and daughters to resemble him. We have to conclude then that God designed us to be born again into a body that enables us to resemble him. God and human beings long for that eternal day when we can soar through the heavens together. The day we are born as beings who can take wing with God, the day we are born into that body, is a day of our physical death. On that day, we cast off our physical body like an old coat, and then would we welcome death or fear death? The answer, of course, is that we would welcome death. So yeah, Father's explaining that in order for us to overcome the fear of death, we really need to understand this perspective that we take on the form that can enable us to resemble God and go into the realm of God's higher love. Yeah, dwell with God. Yeah, so this is what happens when we die. Our spirit, cast off our physical body like an old coat. Yeah. For what purpose then would we die? We would die for the sake of God's true love. That is the love whereby we seek to sacrifice ourselves for the benefit of others. we can conclude that the reason that we cast off our physical bodies is so that we can participate in the realm of God's work of love. We die for the sake of the world of God's love. Wouldn't you like to be born as God's true sons and daughters who can receive and practice true love? If we could measure God's wealth, how rich do you think he would be? Have you ever thought about that? With all those heavenly bodies in the universe, isn't it likely that one would be made of solid diamond? How about one made of pure gold? God is truly omniscient and omnipotent. Wouldn't he want his children to have everything? What do you think? God can go from one end of the vast universe to the other in an instant. Is this something that you would be interested in doing? To gain that ability, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? We have to obey the laws of God as established for us, obey the laws that God has established for us. Only by doing so can we be with him. It's impossible to be with him if we behave in a disordered way. We need to pass through the 3 ages of water, earth, and heaven. Are you confident that you can refrain from doing what God tells you not to do? We have a dual structure. Our mind is the subject partner and our body is the object partner. The two need to unite, with the body subordinating itself to the mind. In our life, we go through 3 realms corresponding to the stages of formation, growth, and completion. We go through the realm of water in our mother's womb, then the realm of planet Earth, and finally we fly in the heavenly realm, which corresponds to floating in the air. Once we have gone through the period of the womb, we are born into the physical world. We live in our physical body in this world for about 100 years, and then we enter the spirit world through which we can fly. We pass through these 3 realms. When a fetus is in the womb, it resists leaving the womb from the outside world for the outside world. It fights as hard as it can to stay there. The reason is that when the fetus leaves the womb, its home is destroyed. All its nourishment and everything else it had in the womb breaks apart and flows away. Also, its head and body swell in size during the birthing process. Who would want to go through something like that? Every fetus cries, no, right up to the moment of birth. Eventually, the water breaks and the infant emerges into the world. As you watch a woman giving birth to a child, you really have to empathize with her. Women who have given birth know what I'm talking about. When the mother is pushing, the extent of her beauty does not make a difference. She contorts her face into all sorts of grotesque expressions. She makes such painful faces that even her husband can't stand to watch and might leave the room. She makes just about every possible face. Thus, both the mother and the baby go through tremendous pain up to the last moment for the baby to be born. So this course, yeah, that's just going through the phases of our life. And this diagram you would be familiar with. In the womb, the water world, preparation for the body, then, yeah, being born is like dying. So life on earth for about 100 years, air world, preparation for the spirit, with our mind and body. We need to unite, of course, in the right way, and eventually to the spirit world. So it was the world of love. It's in our eternal existence with our spirit body and our spirit mind. Yeah. After birth, is it necessary to keep the umbilical cord attached to the baby's navel? Or does someone cut off the umbilical cord without a second thought? Perhaps someone may object, saying, that cord is someone's lifeline. How can you cut a lifeline that connects one person to another? A newborn infant cries at the top of its lungs because it thinks it is about to die. And as God looks on, though, he can't help breaking into a happy smile. From the viewpoint of the new life that has just been born, one world has just disappeared completely. Now, the child has to breathe the air of its new world. The fetus grows in a watery environment, and the period in the womb is a period of existence in water. As long as the fetus is in its mother's womb, it is floating in water. At first, you might think that the fetus may have difficulty during this time in the womb because it can't breathe. You may also think that it would need a process of ingesting nutrients and expelling waste products. These functions are fulfilled by the umbilical cord, which is like a hose attached to the baby's belly. How does a fetus in the womb receive nourishment? It receives nourishment through the umbilical cord attached to its navel. For children in the womb, for the child in the womb, the navel functions as a mouth. So do not be disdainful of your belly button. Rub your belly button a little and say, "Hey, belly button, thank you for working so hard back then." If you pat your belly button often, it is good for your health. Seriously, it's a good way to exercise. It's good for your health to exercise your navel. For example, a person sleeping in a cold room can avoid coming down with diarrhea by keeping the navel well covered. We may refer to our navel as our former mouth. Someone might say, "How foolish. Whoever heard of a former mouth?" There's no denying the fact, though, that the navel once functioned as your mouth. It also acted as a breathing apparatus. Outside the womb, your present mouth fulfills the function of receiving nutrients. The function has moved up on your body. Like the fetus in the womb and the physical body outside the womb, a person's spirit self also needs to receive nutrients in order to grow. The spirit self is attached to the physical body that breathes air to stay alive on earth. It lives off the physical body until the body grows old. Then the spirit self kicks the body away and tries to separate. If at that moment the body cries out, "No, I don't want to die. I won't die," how will God react? Will he feel sorry for the physical body because the pain is enduring? Or will he quietly smile? The infant who experiences pain when emerging from the mother's womb grows as the object partner of its parent's love. In the same way, the spirit self has to leave behind our crying physical body to be born anew as the eternal object partner of God, a spiritual being. We draw this conclusion based on the principle. On earth, too, the baby can become a friend of its mother, after it is born. This is because it is born into the physical world where it can share love with its father and mother. In the same way that the fetus swims in its mother's womb, a person in the physical world breathes and lives in the swaddling clothes of air. When the baby shares love with its parents while breathing air, we say it is alive. Likewise, we can share love with God, our parent, who exists as an eternal spiritual being after we are born again into the spirit world. We need to live in accordance with God's laws. What kind of a place is the spirit world? When we enter the spirit world, we begin to breathe through a hole in the top of our head and through our cells. The air in the spirit world is not the air we have on earth. Instead, it is love. On earth, we eat and drink alone. On earth, eating and drinking alone are not sufficient to sustain our life. We eat and drink. When we eat and drink, we are merely filling our physical body with food and water. Eventually, our physical body will die. The form we take during life on earth is our second existence. While on earth, we need to develop our character of love. Therefore, on earth, the thing we need most is love. What's an orphan? Why do we call the child who cannot receive love from father and mother an orphan? It's because that child lacks the love by which he or she can connect eternally with the spirit world. In the absence of love, we feel lonely. That is why we feel sorry for a person who lives without a spouse. The death of our physical body destroys our ability to breathe in the second stage, yet it connects our spirit self with the nourishment of love. We eventually have no choice except to leave the physical body behind. We cannot see love, yet our internal structure develops based on experiencing the love of parents, the love between husband and wife, the love of children. Just as there is a normal course of development for a child in its mother's womb, there is a normal course for development in the spirit of the spirit self on earth. We follow this course by living in accordance with God's law. We cannot do it by living in any other way. So yeah, that's we need to experience those four realms of love: children, siblings, spouse, and parental love while we're living on earth. So the family is really the engine room, the kind of place to prepare us for going to the spirit world, where we need to be so experienced in all different types of love. So, if we examine the world of nature, we see that many insignificant-looking insects, seeds of plants, and even small birds can fly. Does it make sense that human beings, the greatest of all created beings, cannot fly? Observe the dandelion. It is made such that its seeds fly away when the wind blows. Birds fly, insects fly, and seeds of plants fly. Surely human beings also must have been created with a means to fly. Someone might be tempted to complain, God, why did you create us without the ability to fly when many other things in creation can fly? And God would probably reply, wait a few decades until you become fully mature, and then I will let you fly. All right, I think it's probably time now to, so it goes on. It's a terrific speech. As you can say, so interesting to hear Father's explanation about these matters. So yeah, I hope you've been able to enjoy that, and perhaps at another time we might finish that off. It's quite a bit more to go, actually. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Reverend Stone, for sharing with us and highlighting that message that Father gave about life and death, and to really think and reflect about exactly what our essence of our life really is. There's billions of people on earth, and we are born, and we are very much unique, very much our own thinking, and we are here, and so having a sense of gratitude to God because we're here, and our birth is the confirmation of our own selection and calling by God. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. No one is born randomly without reason, and everyone is born to become the object partner of love to God, and everyone is unique. So we have a new and our own unique way to relate to each other and to God. And yeah, that our life, if there was no fall, it would have been certainly filled with happiness and joy, and growing with great expectation to achieve oneness with God and full maturity, and then to go on to fulfill the other two blessings. And that's our responsibility. And if that had been the case, the world would have been God's object of love. But we know it didn't. The fall happened, and death came into the world, but the physical death was always there. But the death of Adam and Eve, from the perspective of God's, it was tragic, and God went, as we know, to give us salvation, and our true parents are here. And then to think about, our purpose has suddenly expanded because of the fall. Before it should have been just a simple process of growth, and with the support of our parents, we would have matured. But because of the fall, everyone grew separated from God, comfortable with being selfish, comfortable with being only thinking about our own immediate community or family, and not recognizing the sadness of heaven, the sadness of God. And as it said right at the beginning there, we return to our origin as being one of the meanings that the Korean understand about death being a process to return to our origin. And actually many cultures have a similar understanding that when we die, that we return back to heaven, but not really so sure of how that mechanism is. Something that struck me that was read was we shed our nationality when we not only shed our physical body that is designed only to carry us long enough so that our preparation for the spirit world is complete, and we're able to have become grandparents that have passed on the tradition of heaven to the next generations. But so we shed our nationality. I found that interesting that was mentioned that way. Not only do we shed our physical body, but everything disappears. Our nationality, our race, our religion, everything that we connected to physically isn't there. And we know that when we return, the preparation that we're supposed to do in our physical body is to really love others, living for the sake of others, and really embody God's essence, because that essence is in us, and to then be a community of people that really love each other. And so the more we love, then the more we can move around in the spirit world. And everyone is surprised, I'm sure, when they go to spirit world, because spirit world really is an unknown. We're preparing there, but we can't go there and check it out and then come back and say, oh, we better be better. Now, once we go, then that's it. And so just living a good life is our focus, and we know together as a community of blessed members, that good life really is to share the great news of heaven and our true parents and the blessing to everyone. So that's also part of our preparation to enter spirit world, by the amount of results that we actually produce, and the results that are acceptable to our heavenly parent. So anyway, your life and death is one of those things that often come up in our thinking and thoughts, and especially as we get older, we have to double check. Wow, did I prepare enough? Because eventually, when we go, we have to go with what we've got. Anyway, some thoughts like that this morning. So thank you, and open it up to others who'd like to share. Thank you. We still have a bit of time. Anyone that wants to share? Yes, Johnny, go ahead.
Yeah, well, nobody's going. I had a dream last night about life and death, and so maybe I can share that. Um, I was in the tunnel with a few people in a tunnel underground, and it was a bomb going to blow up, just about to blow up. So everyone was rushing out of the tunnel through a ladder, getting through one hole, the only hole to get out of the tunnel. And I was the last one going out of the tunnel. I got up on the top of the ladder and tried to get out, and I got stuck in the hole. I couldn't get out of the hole. I was thinking of the bomb that was going to blow up in the tunnel and blow me into absolute pieces. And so I was crying out to the guy on top, said, let me out, give me a hand. And they were looking at me and said, oh, okay, all right. Is he hesitant to come and pull me out? So they came out, 1, 2, 3, they all pulled me out. They're very hard to get out of there. And I was waiting for the bomb to blow up and blow everything into pieces. And eventually I got out of the tunnel. And eventually the bomb didn't blow up. But they were trying to show me something about something. I'm still thinking about it anyway. What's all about? Life and death. I had a similar experience in Alaska when I fell into in the water. I was hanging onto the pier at the edge of the pier with my hand falling down. Half the body was half in the water and half up there, crying out for the people to pull me out. And because I was trying to hold onto the boat and the pier at the same time, but the boat is about 3 tons. It was not attached to the pier, and it went away from the pier. So I had to let go either the pier or the boat. So I let go of the boat. I was hanging onto the pier. And then I was about to fall down in the water, very cold, the water there. And they pulled me out there. There were about 3 of them or 4 of them to pull me out. It was very hard because my boots were full of water already. And it's very hard to get me out of there. So it's, yeah, life and death situation. There's many of them in that situation. I had another one in the mountains. Anyway, I could go on and on and on to that. But yeah, life and death is but a fear, yeah, you have fear, but well, anyway, if you die for a good purpose, it's not so bad.
Thank you, Jane. We've got a couple of minutes still for someone who want to share a comment or an experience. Yes, Mr. Rai, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Greg. It's incredible. It's a reading, and I'm 77, so I don't know how long I can be, but maybe it's very close. Just I remember about the life of Swedenborg, and Reverend John said, once go to the spiritual world, never come back, but he went to spiritual world, come back many times. Incredible, I think, about spiritual world, but also as our elder person is Dr. Lee. He went to spiritual world, and he amazingly, after he died, after 3 days, he come back, then started his mission. I think maybe some people have a special mission permitted God a certain time, then I think under all God's law we can live. But I think, but a really beautiful sentence today is you need to willing to die for the person you love. That is incredible. If we can die for the person we love, it is incredible. But also it is a moment of second life. Then God is happy and such incredible. It's a revelation of life. It is such depth. We really thanks for our life. God loves us, bless us. It's incredible life. We are really happy to our life, and thank you for so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Greg, you got your hand up?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you, Reverend Stone, for a very nice reading. Yeah, recently I heard that from the Hondok that Mother prayed for 3 years after Father went into the spirit world, and a very moving prayer. And also recently on our prayer vigil, it was suggested that we can ask for spiritual help through Hyojinim or Daimonim. So I was thinking, well, how about Father? Can we ask help from Father directly, like Father now? Mother has done those 3-year condition to pray for Father. Can we ask for Father for spiritual help? Why ask Hyojin or someone else? And then I said this to a brother, and he said, well, maybe Father's very busy in spirit world. He can't be everywhere. Why would he worry about having, helping or come in and assisting in our small problems of this and that? When he's trying to do the big things, he's trying to sort out many different areas. And then it came to my mind, well, how can the spirit manifest? Can Father Spirit or Hyojinim Spirit be all with different places all at once? And I sort of remember back in the early days when we understood, like people like Saint Francis, he had an area, like a certain realm that he was concentrating, maybe Catholic or maybe Italian or some area where he was more responsible for, and that was where he was focusing his spiritual help on. So then I'm not sure how the spirit people in spirit world how much they can manifest in different places at the same time, or if they indeed can, if they have to focus on certain areas. So it's just very interesting as even our prayer this morning was the prayer for the unity, wasn't it unity of spirit world and physical world? So to how to gain spiritual help. So I think we probably have to, I don't know, this is my assumption, but I think whichever high spirit, heavenly spirit we're connected to, we probably can call on that spirit to help us more, that we feel very connected with, to help us in whatever we're struggling with or whatever we have to do, which area we're focusing on. Just some reflections. Thank you very much.
Just in response before Jeff makes a message, Mother actually said, please pray to Father and ask his help. She has actually said, Father's been waiting for us to pray and call to him, so for him to assist us. So she said, don't be shy in calling for Father's help, because he's ready and waiting for us to ask. But yes, Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, sort of in the same vein, John and others here. Some people in life, they've had certain focus and experience. So if you want to get your power fixed, you don't call on anybody, you call on someone that's experienced in that area. And of course, Father's got such a big area of understanding Yeah, but even myself, sometimes I call on the God who created us, and he has maximum infinite stuff, to help. So yeah, but anyway, we do call on certain people, Damonim, because she really feels for our kids, the second generation. And sometimes I call on Johan Lee or saying any of these great scholars, when I need inspiration for some presentation or something. Yeah. So anyway, we're learning amazing things to get help, and people want to help us. And I think, yes, people, because beyond time and space, I think they can appear simultaneously, like Jesus appears to everybody, at the same time. So if you call on that person, they will come in your slot, kind of thing. Someone else will call, but we try to put our minds grasp what you're talking about, Greg, about how can they appear at simultaneously. But it seems to be evident God is omnipresent, and we seem to, maybe when spiritually we can be present anywhere. Whoever calls on us will be there. Anyway, it's going to be interesting when we pass into that world. But anyway, a few comments.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's very true. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Reverend Stone, for sharing with us. And it is time now for us to offer our unison prayer. So I'll just bring up the screen. And let's pray together. Thank you. Jew, Jew, Jew. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again, Reverend Stone, for sharing, and I hope everyone has a great day. And